Okay, recording in progress. So glad to have y'all here with me today. We're going to start on our backs. And again, maybe a blanket and a couple of blocks is all that you'll need. Okay, so starting on our backs, I'm going to lie down here with you. And get comfy. Of course, you can use something to support under your knees, under your legs, if you feel like that's a better option on your back. You could also start with your knees just bent and your feet on the floor. That'll take a little bit of pressure out of the back. Sometimes I find in the mornings that's the best option for me, for my low back. But you could also spread your legs long and a little bit wide down your mat, and your arms moving just a little bit away from the body. You're gonna let the head really drop back into the mat. I want you to think about letting your eyes soften into their sockets and letting the tongue relax inside the mouth. I want you to rock your head ever so gently from side to side. A little bit of massage feeling to the back of the skull. Let your shoulders drop into the floor, into the mat. Let's let our head come center and begin to focus on your breath. Focus on allowing the body to get a little more still and feeling the support of the mat and the earth underneath you. Feel the support of any of your props that you're taking with you. And just let your body really fall into gravity here. Relax into gravity. So the arms are just a little bit away from your body, and maybe your palms are facing up here, rolling the shoulders back a little bit to open up the chest. And depending on how you've set up your legs, your feet might be in a standing position on your mat, or your legs are stretched out long down your mat. Feel what is comfortable for you this morning as we come into our practice together. Notice if your mind is busy and lots of thoughts coming in about your surroundings, thoughts about what your day is going to be like. And I don't want you to try to push those thoughts aside, but I do want you to try to just let them pass by like clouds in the sky. So you see them and you just let them move on past. And we'll practice being in the moment. We'll practice being with our breath, with each cycle of breath. And practice allowing whatever sensations are present to be of interest, to allow you to do some exploring and connecting with yourself. So let's try to deepen and lengthen the breath here. A bigger breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Let's do that again. And we'll stay with this, just attention to your breath. We'll stay with this for another minute or so and allow your body to settle. Be in this time and space. Be here now with your body, your breath, your mind, and your heart. So I'm going to offer a little bit of breathing practice here where we're working with an even breath. So let's work on counting our breath to a count of 4 on the inhale and then a count of 4 on the exhale. So it might sound like this. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want you to keep going on your own rhythm. Finding this even quality to the breath. We are here in the autumnal equinox, where the day and the night are equal in length with each other. So as we equal out our breathing, the inhale even with the exhale, we're using a breathing practice called Samavriti, equal breathing. And it just helps us embody the season, embody nature, embody the cycles of nature and life. The equal length of day with the equal length of night. So at any point, you can let go of the counting and the breathing practice and just allow your own breath. We'll try just a couple more rounds here. Inhaling to a count of 4 and exhaling to a count of 4. And when you feel ready to, I want you to stretch your arms back over the top of your head. Straighten out your legs as you can and just lengthen your body here. Take a nice long stretch. And you might even feel that your back arches a little bit away from the ground, away from the mat. We're going to take a big breath in like this. And then begin to bring your arms down and hug your knees into your chest. Grab onto your legs. Now rock your body from right to left. Rock your head, rock from hip to hip, from side to side. We'll take a nice slow pace to our practice today. And of course, allowing for lots of time to investigate the breath and investigate the body. Let's rock our way into center here. Let your left foot come to the ground, but keep your knee bent. Let's cross our right ankle in front of the left thigh. Use your right hand to push the right knee a little bit away from your right shoulder. And so we're making space down into the hips here. This could be where you stay, or perhaps you're going to allow the legs to come a little closer in and wrap your hands, interlace your hands, your fingers around the back of your left leg. And just hug this figure four into your body. Let's work on our breathing here. So inhaling and exhaling. Take 2 more breaths here. Inhaling, exhaling. Relax your shoulders, your throat, and your face. Inhale and exhale. Good. Let's just undo this side, dropping the left foot down. Right foot comes into that standing position next to the left. And then let's just change sides. So we're going to cross our left ankle in front of the right thigh. Pause here and take your left hand and push that left knee a little bit away from your left shoulder. So we feel like we're opening up, just opportunity for more spaciousness in the hips, through the torso, space in our throat, in the neck, in the head. And of course, you could stay like this or thread your hands around the back of your right leg, interlacing your fingers, and draw this figure four into you. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, and now let your breath flow here. A big, deep inhalation and a long, complete exhalation. Another breath in and exhale. Good. Undo when you're ready, dropping the feet down to the ground. Keep your knees bent. And now let's bring our arms down by the sides of the body. As you're ready, you'll inhale and sweep your arms back and let your back arch away from the ground. So there's a little tunnel under your back. And as you exhale, let your arms come down by your sides, flatten that little space under your back. Inhale, arms reach back in your back arches. And exhale, let your arms come down and flatten your back into the ground. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach back, arch your back. And exhale, arms come down, flatten your back. Let's draw the knees into the chest again, hug them in. Try curling your head, neck, and shoulders up away from the earth now, away from the mat. Hugging in. Squeezing in. Firm up your abdominals here. And then start to reach your arms back over the top of the head and extend your legs now, keeping them in the air, and then hug back in and maybe squeeze head, neck, and shoulders up away from the ground. So stretch your body apart, legs staying in the air, and then exhale, squeeze yourself in, and maybe your head, shoulders lift off the ground. Let's do 3 more of these. So tighten up through your abdominals as you stretch your limbs apart. Exhale, squeeze in and let go of all the breath. We'll go twice more. Squeezing in. Get the whole body involved here, right? Stretching out and then grabbing and hugging in. Good. Let's let that all down. And I want you to scooch so that you are lying on your right side. I'm going to tuck my right arm under my head here, give a little pillow, and stacking the knees right on top of each other. Okay. Then the left arm is free to move. So let's sweep the left arm over the head and then down by the side of the body. And reach up and over and then down and reach a little bit behind you. Let your hands start to come down behind your hips. Reach up and over and then down and a little bit behind you. Reach over the top of the head again and pause here. And then I want you to start to reach your arm back. So we'll make circles. So you're going to reach down by your hip and then reach forward toward the screen, over your head and around behind you. So you're just taking that top arm and begin to circle it around. So there's some movement in your rib cage here too. And we're letting the body open up, reaching around behind us, reaching forward. Oh, that feels so good. Open up that shoulder, open up the chest. Good. All right. And then pause with your arm resting on the top of your leg, on top of your hip. We're going to keep our feet together, the inner edges of the feet together, but we're going to open the knees like a clam and then close the top knee down. So open the top knee, keeping your edges of your feet together, and then close the knee down. Do that a couple times. So you're starting to work through the external rotators in the buttock muscle, in the outer hip, and down the IT band on the outside of your top leg. Good. Let's go one more. And then we're just going to let ourselves roll onto our back. Center yourself on your mat. Soles of the feet together. Let the knees open like butterfly. And just take a couple of breaths. Now, as we stay here, if you've got your blocks, you could take your blocks and support your outer legs. That feels really good for me this morning. I'm going to let the blocks take a little bit of that weight of my legs, so it's not quite so intense on the hips. And then let's just add our breath in here. Relax the buttock muscles, outer thighs, inner thighs, groins, belly, low back, like all this whole lower body, just letting it drop into gravity. Okay, let's take one more breath. And let that go. All right, stretch your legs long down your mat. Let them be parallel with each other. Let's stretch our arms back over the top of the head. Arch your back a little bit away from the ground. Pull your belly in as you draw your knees into your chest. Maybe pick up your head, neck, and shoulders again. Squeezing in. And then let's release that down. Okay, so we're going to roll onto our left side. And what I'm going to do is actually turn myself. I'm going to rock up and actually turn myself so that I can still see you. But you can just roll over and face the other direction in your room. Okay, so whatever works for you. I'm going to be on my left side, and the left arm tucks under the head. Knees stack on top of each other. And then bringing the arm, the top arm now, the right arm, is going to rest on the top side of the body. So let's start by reaching out of the shoulder. The arm goes over the top of the head and then down by the side of the body, or like onto the hip. And we do that a couple times. And we're starting to let the top arm just kind of fall behind the body a little bit. So it gives us some extra length through the top of the shoulder. A nice and easy movement there. So we've also just come through the full moon, right? We're still feeling the effects of the full moon. So let's start circling our arm. Our top arm is going to circle back and then over the top of the head. You're reaching forward to the screen and then around behind you again. So we're making these big full circles. Mandala is the Sanskrit word for circle. Mandala, big shoulder mandala. And just embodying the fullness, the wholeness of the full moon. Even though it was technically 2 days ago. But the energy of the full moon stays with us for a couple of days after it starts to cycle into the waning of the moon, right? All right, so next time you bring your arm down by the side of your body, let it rest on your top hip there. And then let's do the clam. So we're going to let the inner edges of our feet stay together, and we're going to lift the top knee and then just let it close back down. Okay, so like a clam, the inner edges of the feet stay together, and we just open and close that top leg, that top knee. So after you repeat this a few times, you can start to feel the work, right, in the external rotators of the outer hip and into the buttock muscle. Some work down the IT band. And if your body's really tight, then you might feel this pretty quickly. If your body's a little more loose, then you might not feel it quite as intensely. Just warming up through those outer thighs there. Let's go one more. And then what we do is we just start to roll onto the back. Center yourself on your mat. Soles of the feet come together, coming into butterfly pose, not Satupana, what is this? Balasana. And then I'm going to choose my blocks again to support the weight of the legs. So it's just not quite so intense on the hips. But then we get to relax, right? Let the movement stop. Breathe, focus on the even breathing, the samavriti of the inhale and the exhale. Maybe adding that count into the breath. So we inhale to a count of 4 and exhale to a count of 4. Relax your inner thighs, outer thighs, buttock muscles, low belly, low back. Feel very grounded and heavy through the lower body here, perhaps. Steady and solid here. As you're ready, I want you to straighten your legs long down your mat. Feel the legs become more parallel with each other now. Extend out through your heels. Reach your arms back over the top of your head. Let's pull our right knee into our chest. Leave your left leg long down your mat, or if you prefer, you can have that foot on the ground with the knee bent. We're going to try to straighten our right leg up toward the ceiling here, and then curl up and hold on to the back of your right leg. So the back of the meaty calf there, we're pulling that to us. Get a little extra stretch into our hamstrings, maybe into the calf muscles. And if you flex your foot, then you might even get that sensation of length up through the arch of the foot, into the sole of the foot. I'm curling my head up and chin toward the chest here. And then tighten up the abdominals. Let's slowly float the leg all the way back down to the floor. Take a breath. Exhale it out. Pull your left knee into your chest. Squeeze it in for a moment. Good. Then let's try extending our left leg up to the sky. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Tighten up the abs. Walk your hands up to the back of your calf muscle. And just give a little pull here. I don't need a lot of pull. My hamstrings are tight. Woo. So we're breathing into this lengthening of the back of the leg, right? And if you flex the foot, then you're going to drive that length all the way up through the heel, and maybe kind of spread the toes a little bit. Right? Tuck your chin towards your chest. And then tighten up the abdominals. Let's let everything come down slow and in control. Good. Stretch your arms back over your head. Let's bend the knees now, and we're going to roll to one side. Doesn't matter which. Give yourself a push up away from the ground. Ah, very nice. And then let's flip ourselves over to our hands and knees. Okay. We do a little bit of hip circling here, sort of combining almost like a child's pose with a little bit of hip circle here too. So come to all fours, use your blanket under your knees if you need it for support. And what I want to do here is start to push the right hip toward the right and then back toward the right heel. And I'm circling over toward the left and coming around. I'm going to push the hips to the right and then to the left, coming up toward the front and then toward the back of the mat. So you feel a little more weight shift into your right hand and your right knee, and then over into your left knee and your left hand, and circle the body, circle the hips. Can you lead with the hip? You really push it out there. And get a little bit more space into the outer hip. Okay. Right, when you're ready, I want you to circle the other direction. So I'm going to start to circle toward the left and over to the right. Notice how your weight shifts into your hands and into your knees, and into the left side and into the right side. Getting some nice fluid motion going here. Right? Now, next time you go back, center your hips, push your hips back towards your heels, rest your forehead down, let your arms be soft, and settle into Balasana or Child's Pose for a couple of breaths here. Really pull your breath into your back body. Let the back of the ribs fill with your breath. And then letting that go. Good. Now let's find our way to downward facing dog. We're going to bring it up to hands and knees. Tuck our toes under. Press back and up and let the hips go high. And then I want you just to move around a little bit in your dog, right? So you can walk your feet out, pressing one heel while the other knee bends. You might shift your hips a little bit from side to side. Oh, and just finding your way into downward facing dog. And eventually, we'll shift forward onto our hands and knees and then come down onto the belly. And we're going to slide our forearms forward so that we can be in Sphinx Pose. So I want you to be a little bit wide with your elbows toward the edges of your mat. Spread your fingers wide, take up a lot of space here. Let your legs maybe stretch apart just a little bit here too as you're reaching through your legs. Feel your belly and your pelvis anchored down. Good. Opening up through the fronts of the hips here. And then we're going to pull the belly in, pull the hands back underneath the shoulders, lift yourself to all fours, tuck your toes, and move back into downward facing dog. Then let's work our way into a forward fold. We're going to walk our feet up, maybe walk our hands back. I'm actually going to turn and face you a little bit so that you can see a little more clearly. What I'm going to do here is, I'm actually going to take a block too, okay? I'm going to let my body sort of shift from side to side here. I'm going to start to bend one knee while the other leg straightens, and shift my body from side to side. Over time, I'm going to start to come up and bring my hands up toward my knees. I'm still shifting a little from side to side. And then I'm coming on up until I'm ready just to stand myself all the way up. Shake out the arms a little bit. Let me tip my screen just a smidge. There we go, so my head's not cut off. Shake out your arms, shake out your legs a little bit. Do a little wiggle and a shake. Have a little fun with it. Ah, good. And then I do want you to turn to the long edge of your mat. Open your legs wide. Good. Okay, so let your arms be free here. You're going to start to sway your arms from side to side and add the legs just like we did before, where one knee is bending and one leg is straightening. And then we're going to come back into our fold and go from side to side. Now, I'm going to let my hands come down to the ground, down to the mat. And as I go from side to side, I'm just letting my hands walk from foot to foot and stretch and move toward one side and toward the other. So we're being very fluid with this motion. Okay, eventually you're going to turn to your right into your long lunge. Here, I'm going to reach for my blocks. Also going to put the back knee down on the ground, coming up onto the bridge of the fingertips. And take a couple of breaths here. Ah, good. So focusing on opening up the left hip flexor. Our right foot is forward and our left foot is back. All right, we're going to add arm motion here. So let's put the left hand down either on the block or on the ground and begin to reach your right arm over the top of your head and circle it around and down and then forward again. So we're reaching forward, we're reaching back, reaching down, forward, around. Good. Focus on your breathing. Circling the arm. Now, we're going to let that right arm come around behind and drop the hand down towards your left hip. Draw the top shoulder back and just allow your body to open up here. A couple of breaths in our low lunging twist. And then eventually pull the belly in. Let's bring that right arm back around and down toward the floor. Tuck your back toes under, come back to your high lunge, and then shifting through the center to our wide forward fold. Parallel your feet. Let's lengthen the spine and then exhale and fold. So you're in wide forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine, use the blocks if you like. Exhale, fold. Let your whole body be involved with this. We're stretching up and out through the top of the head. And exhale, release it down toward the ground. Let's do that twice more. Lengthen out and then release it down. Good. All right, now let's turn toward the left. Okay, you're going to come into your left lunge. Facing the end of the mat, drop the right knee down, untuck the back toes. Get yourself set in side two of your lunge. Oh, that feels good. Stretching and opening up the hip flexor in the right side. So we have the left leg forward and the right leg back. Let's breathe, open up the chest. We can add our arm movement in here. So right hand comes down to the mat or onto your block. And then let your left arm start to reach forward. And you're circling back toward the hip and down toward the ground. Reach forward and up and around. Good. Just lots of fluid motion here. So we're taking those big circles with the left arm, and maybe our gaze follows as well. So we've got the head involved. Rib cage is turning a little as well. And then on this last one, let's let that left arm come around and drop down behind where your left hand's coming towards your right hip. And then you're pulling your left shoulder back a little bit to give yourself time in that twist. Opening up the heart space, breathing smooth and steady. Feel a little heat building in the body here. Warming ourselves up. Eventually, the left hand comes back down to the block. We'll tuck the back toes under. Bring yourself to your high lunge. Good. Walk your way back around to your wide forward fold. Parallel your feet. Let's take one inhale here and then exhale and fold. We're going to hold our forward fold here for a couple of breaths. Let go through the top of the head. Maybe turn your head a little bit from side to side. Let go of any tension that you can through the backs of your shoulders and breathe into your back ribs. Good. Okay, so start to lengthen forward through the spine. Bend your knees a little bit. Bring your hands onto your thighs. Make sure you're not lightheaded as you come all the way up. And then turn the knees and the toes out. Try to line up your knees and toes with each other and drop into your goddess squat. Okay, we're going to let the arms move out to the sides here, reaching through the fingertips. Breathe. Good. All right, now let's straighten the legs, reach up through the arms, and then bend the knees and reach out through the fingertips. Good. Go again. Straighten your legs, reach up through your arms. Drop your weight into your heels as you bend your knees. Let's go one more time. Straighten up. And then drop out into your wide squat. Good. Wrap your right arm on top of your left. Give yourself a hug. Working on your balance here. You're going to let the elbows point up. And then hug the elbows toward the belly and round into this. Come up, straighten your legs. Ooh, don't fall over. Undo the arms. Good, and back into your wide plie. Wrap your left arm on top of your right. Good. Lift the elbows toward the sky a little bit. And then hug and round in. Let your elbows point down toward the ground. Keep opening up the legs. Tuck your chin. And then allow the legs to straighten and open up the arms. Good. Turn to either side. It doesn't matter which. We're going to step back into downward facing dog here. So plant your hands and step back. And once you get yourself in downward facing dog, I want you to bring the legs really close together. Let your right leg lift up behind you and bend the knee. And try circling the leg. So you're just going to do a little hip circle here with your right knee coming slightly toward the chest, out to the side, and then circle it back and around. All right. Let's do that again. Ooh, that feels really good. Let's lower that right foot and then do the same with the left. So left leg lifts up. We're going to bend the knee and then start our circles with that left hip. So it's like the left knee comes into the chest, out to the side, and circles up. And then repeating that. Good. Next time you circle around, let that be your last one. Bring it down to the knees. Come forward onto your belly. Bring yourself into Sphinx. I'm going to scooch back just a little bit here. Scooch back just a smidge. There we go. So elbows are wide toward the edges of your mat. You open up through the hip flexors here. Lengthen back through the tops of your feet. Breathe even. Feel your pelvis and your belly anchor down into the earth. Let's do a little bit more strength now for the upper body by sliding the hands down by the sides of the body, and then allow the arms to lift up away from the ground. The palms are facing up or down. It doesn't matter. You feel what's right in your shoulders, but roll your shoulder heads up away from the ground. Feel the upper body strength. Breathe here as we work into this locust position. And you might even feel like you want to lift your legs here. If you lift your legs, keep them straight. Reach long through your fingertips and through your toes. Breathing and feeling that heat, strength in the body. Good. And then we're going to bring the arms around, make a little pillow for your head, and let yourself rest. Now you can do reverse windshield wipers here if you feel like you need a little bit of movement, or you might just be totally still and focus on your breathing. Allow the back of the ribs to open up with your breath. Good. Let's lift our head, pull the hands back, pull in the belly, lift yourself to all fours, and then allow for a seated position. Okay, so you're coming into maybe crisscross yoga sauce at first. Okay, good. Now, as we sit here for a couple of moments, if you decide that you need a bolster or a folded blanket to sit on, of course, grab that if you need it. Okay. Sit nice and tall through the spine. Good. All right, so let's take the right hand out to the right. We're going to let the left arm come up and over and take a big side stretch here. So breathing into the top side of the ribs. Let your shoulders relax away from your ears. So the top arm sweeps down and in front of you and helps you pull yourself up through the center. And we'll just switch sides. Put that left hand out to the side, and the right arm goes up and over, and ease into your side stretch. Let your breath fill that top side of the body. Loosen up the jaw. Good. A couple more breaths. And then that top arm comes down and across. Good. And bring ourselves up from there. See if you can straighten your legs out in front of you. I know my camera is I'm getting out of camera, but I'm sitting basically in Dandasana here with the legs together, the inseams of the legs coming together and helping me to pull to my center and lift up really tall through the top of the head. I've got the fingertips bridged out to the sides here. And then we're going to take a twist. So once you're twisting to let me think about this for a second. Yeah, I want you to twist to the right first, okay? So take your twist, let your left hand come across to the outside of your right leg. Stay really tall here. Good, let's come back to center. And then go ahead and twist around to your left. Super tall through the spine. And then back around you go to the center. We'll scooch our hips forward so that we can lie down on our backs. And if you have block handy, maybe 2 blocks, We're going to support the sacrum with 1 or 2 blocks. So supporting at the back of the hips here at the sacrum, which is the base of the spine, it should feel very solid and supportive for you here. We're going to let the arms rest in a comfortable position. Feel like you can breathe and open up your chest. And then perhaps lifting the heels, coming right up onto the tips of your toes. Pull the belly in as you float the feet up off the ground and straighten your legs up toward the sky. Now you can be here with your knees really soft, or you can be stretching and straightening your legs, even flexing up through the feet. But I want you to have a softness in your face and see if you can work with your even breathing, the Samavriti, inhaling to a count of 4 and exhaling to a count of 4. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. As you feel ready, let the knees soften, point your toes, and allow your toe tips to find the mat. And then your heels press down into the mat. Let your arms come closer in and flatten your hands down into the mat. Can you lift your hips off your blocks now and be in Setu Bandha, in bridge pose, so a little more muscular here, drawing the shoulders a little bit under your body. Open and lift the heart. Let's take a moment to grab those blocks and move them out from underneath you, and then paint your spine down onto your mat. Take it slow, paint the spine down. And once you find the floor completely, take a big giant breath in, and then a long, steady breath out. Good. All right, we're going to stretch our legs long here and take a little break, take a little Shavasana. And what I'd like to suggest is that we actually rest on our backs for about 5 minutes, and then we'll close with a 5-minute meditation. So if you choose to do it differently than that, that's okay. You could go ahead and spend your whole 10 minutes in meditation, or you could spend your whole 10 minutes in Shavasana, okay? So let's settle into this. Just bring up a little bit of that memory of laying down when we first started our practice together and we started lying down. Feel the way your body is now compared with the way it was in the beginning. Can you sense a heaviness to your bones and a softness to the tissues? Can you relax your eyes into their sockets? Smooth the skin over your forehead and over your cheeks. Soften the lower jaw from the upper jaw. As you breathe, just allowing the sensation, allowing the breath to travel over the back of your throat and down into the lungs. Oxygenating the blood, and then the blood pumped through the heart and out through the limbs. Can you relax into the fullness of your breath and your body, the wholeness of yourself, mind, body, breath, and heart? Rest fully and deeply. So taking a deep breath here and just feeling what your energy level is like. If you feel tired and you want to rest in Shavasana, then stay on your back for these last few minutes. If you're feeling like you're ready to move, you can slowly transition to a seated position. And closing the eyes down once you get there, staying with your internal landscape, staying inside with the flow of your breath and the feel of your energy moving fluidly and evenly around in the body. If you're coming up to sit for meditation, feel yourself consciously making that decision and allowing the body to support your decision. The grounding of the hips, of the legs, the light and lifting of the heart, evenness of your breath. Letting our thoughts pass by like clouds in the sky. Keep the back of your neck long. Soften the jaw, soften the tongue. The wholeness here of yourself, your body, your mind, your heart, and your breath, all together as one. If you are still on your back, I want you to start to make some little movements with your fingers and your toes. Move and stretch in any way that feels good to your body, and slowly transition from your back into a seated position. Feel the effects of your practice on your whole body, on your ability to connect the inner landscape, the outer landscape, and the balance of the two. Feel your breath even through the inhale, even with the exhale. A sense of balance, wholeness, connection. Let's bring our hands together at the heart center. Feeling the sides come together, the right side with the left side, the inhale with the exhale, the light with the dark, and allowing ourselves to feel whole, feel full, feel support, feel confidence, joy, peace. Loka samusta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be peaceful, free, and happy. And may our own thoughts, words, and actions contribute to that peacefulness, that freedom and happiness of all beings, including ourselves. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste. All right, scooch up here and stop my recording. Thank you all so much. Namaste.